Swine racist cop arrests a black pastor's wife. Outside a grocery store, 3 days later, he regrets everything. A plastic bag, a receipt, and a woman walking toward her car. But what happens when a police officer sees not a shopper, not a mother, not a wife, but a threat? He doesn't ask questions. He doesn't listen. He just acts, and what he doesn't know is that the woman he's cuffing in front of her kids in front of a crowd, in front of heaven itself, is the wife of one of Alabama's most beloved pastors, a community leader, a woman who's fed hundreds, prayed for thousands, and carries grace in her bones. Her name is Ruth Elaine Carter, and what happens next starts a chain reaction that shakes a town to its knees. This is a story about how dignity can look like defiance, how silence can carry thunder, and how the truth doesn't always shout. Sometimes it sings, "Trust me, you won't forget her name. You won't forget her face, and after today, you won't forget what justice looks like when it wears a Sunday dress." Drop a comment, let us know where you're watching from. And if you believe in stories that speak truth to power, hit like, subscribe, and let's begin. Montgomery, Alabama, 3:41 p.m. Sunday. Ruth Carter always did her grocery shopping after service. Not because it was convenient, but because it was quiet. The Sunday rush ended by 2 by then. The faithful were either home around the table or stretched out in naptime peace, but not Ruth. Not yet. She wore a simple lavender dress with white low heels, and a silk scarf tied neatly over her curls. She walked through the Piggly Wiggly with purpose. Eggs, milk, bread, canned peaches, her youngest liked those, and a bouquet of daisies for her husband, Pastor Elijah Carter, who had been preaching so hard. That morning his voice cracked by the benediction. Ruth was known here, everyone called her Miss Carter or First Lady. Depending on their generation, she had a smile for every cashier, a word for every tired mother, and more than once she had paid for the groceries of strangers without ever saying her name. But none of that mattered. Not to Officer Darren Keyes. He had been sitting in his cruiser engine, running air conditioning full blast, scrolling through his phone. Keyes wasn't from Montgomery. He wasn't even from Alabama. He transferred down from Kentucky after complaints. 3 of them none substantiated, but enough for a quiet relocation. He didn't know the neighborhoods. Didn't know the faces, didn't care to learn to him. Every unfamiliar glance was a warning. Every black woman in a nice dress was either hiding something or belonged to someone who did. He watched Ruth leave the store, 3 bags in hand, purse over her shoulder, walking to a tan Buick parked near the front. He saw her open the back door, place the bags on the seat, adjust a child's car seat, and shut the door again, and for reasons even he wouldn't articulate. He stepped out of the cruiser and walked over. "Ma'am," he called, tone flat, hand on his belt near the holster. "Need you to stop right there." Ruth turned, surprised but not afraid. "Not yet." "Is something wrong, officer?" "What's in the bags?" "My groceries." "You pay for those?" The question landed like a slap, not just in the insult but in its absurdity. Ruth blinked, then nodded. "Yes, of course. Can I see the receipt?" "Sure," she said, opening her purse carefully. Her hands never moved quickly. She'd taught her children that too. Never reach, never surprise, never give them an excuse. She handed him the receipt. Keyes looked at it, but didn't read it. Not really. He stared at the name on the top. Ruth E. Carter, then back at her, like it didn't match the person standing in front of him. "You have ID?" Ruth turned her head, tears spilling. "It's okay, baby. It's okay." But it wasn't. Keyes radioed in, "Detaining suspect. Theft investigation. Uncooperative." Uncooperative because she asked a question, because she didn't shrink. He opened the cruiser door, pushed her inside. Ruth's scarf had slipped. Her bun was coming loose. Her hands were numb. The engine hummed. The doors slammed. The world blurred past the window, and for 23 minutes, Montgomery forgot who she was. But the internet didn't. By 5 p.m., The video hit Facebook, then TikTok, then Twitter by 5:45. First Lady Carter was trending by 6 way. The Piggly Wiggly released a statement confirming Ruth had been a loyal customer for over a decade, and that no theft had been reported that day. None by 6:15, Reverend Elijah Carter, still in his Sunday suit, walked into the precinct with 3 deacons, 2 lawyers, and a voice that could split stone. "What did you arrest my wife for?" The desk sergeant stammered. Papers shuffled, calls were made within minutes. Keys was pulled from the back. Wide-eyed, confused the brass above him. Already pale. "Sir, we had a report." "No, you didn't." She was resisting. She was grocery shopping. The deputy chief arrived by 6:30, hands up. Apologetic Reverend Carter stood firm. "Release her now. Then pray, that's all I ask." Ruth walked out at 6:42 p.m., eyes puffy, wrist bruised but chin held high. The lobby erupted in applause. Strangers who'd come, neighbors, parishioners, reporters. Her daughter ran to her, wrapped around her like roots. Ruth bent down, kissed her forehead. "See, baby? Mama's home." But the story was just beginning. By Monday, the mayor was involved. By Tuesday, Keys was suspended, body cam footage leaked, and every local station aired the now infamous line, "You pay for those?" A local journalist, Latasha Green, dug deeper. Keys had a history. 3 settlements, 1 internal memo recommending termination. Someone had protected him until now. By Wednesday, Reverend Carter held a press conference on the church steps. Ruth stood beside him in a white dress with daisies in her hand. They didn't shout, they didn't curse, they just told the truth. How a woman could be arrested for shopping, for existing, for not bowing her head when accused. And how this town, this country still had work to do. Donations flooded in. Not for Ruth, but for the foundation she launched that week. The Dignity Project, a legal aid fund for wrongfully accused women especially. Black mothers, teachers, nurses, pastors' wives. Within a month, they raised $600,000. Keys resigned under pressure. No pension, no press, just silence. And Ruth? She went back to church the following Sunday, same pew, same dress, same smile. If this story moved you, share it. Post it. Talk about it. Because Ruth Carter isn't just a pastor's wife. She's proof that the truth wears heels and walks without fear.